All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here on setting up and using the clone tool. I'm going to start in Schoology so you can follow along with me to get the correct files. So I'm in my home page here and I'm going to go to Digital Graphic Design. From here, we're going to work from the Photoshop folder. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on cloning today. So work with your instructor to understand the clone stamp tool. We're going to select that option. And you'll see a picture pop up of looks like along a river or beach or something. And when we click these in Schoology, it launches them in a new window. But if I go back to my main tab, I can download the image. So I'm just going to click Download Image, and it'll put it in my Downloads folder. At that point, I'm all set up to jump back over to Photoshop. So I'm going to come to Photoshop. And again, when we're adding a picture to something that exists, we'll do File Place. Right now, I'm going to just do File Open, because that will work for this assignment. I go to my Downloads folder, so if you need to, just go to this PC or Quick Access. I'm already in my Downloads folder, and it's called the Seawall, so I'm going to open that. And give it just a second to open on your screen. We talked a little bit about rasterized pictures, and also when we open stuff, they're locked. So on the right panel over here, I see that this image is locked. So I'm going to double click that. And that turns off the lock on that layer, and it converts that picture to layer 0. So it's actually able to work with it, and we can see that we don't need to do anything with rasterization because it doesn't have the icon on there that lets us know we're still editing and haven't rasterized yet. We're going to be working with the clone tool, and this is one of those super handy things to fix stuff. So our goal here, as you look at this picture down in the bottom left, there's these people on the wall there next to the water. We want to take that out, but we want it to look natural, just like if we were to take the picture and they weren't there. So to do that, we're going to use the clone tool. So as we discussed before, Alt mouse wheel is your best friend in Photoshop, or Illustrator for that matter. So I'm going to zoom in to where I kind of have them more centered on my screen here, just to help with my workspace a little bit. If I go over here to the left in my toolbar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ninth tool down is clone. Remember, you can press and hold your mouse down or right click to see the other options. So I'm going to select the clone stamp tool. Now all you'll see right now is a circle on your mouse pointer. You can also come up here to the top. Again, when we select a tool, we have a new set of options. So I'm actually going to stick with 21 for now. And you can also change what kind of brush you're using to clone. So what I mean is I have to take a picture of the wall and clone it over the top of the people. And same with the water. But we don't just start mouse clicking. What you have to do is look down on your keyboard and find Alt. So you have to find a part of the picture you want to copy. And if we look carefully, and that's why we want to zoom in, with this wall, there's some different textures to it next to these people. So I'm going to come over here by his arm, his elbow here. Right next to it, I'm going to hold down Alt. And you'll see my mouse change to like kind of a crosshair. And I'm going to click, and that sets, I hold down Alt, and that's where I'm cloning from. And now when I click my clone, you can see the little plus symbol come up, and it shows the source of where I'm clicking to get my clone. Now, after I do this once, that clone position is locked. So if it's like an inch apart and I drag my mouse, it's only looking an inch back. So I frequently need to reset that clone. Because you can see I already kind of I'm losing some integrity here on the texture of the rock I'm copying. So again, to set the source, I alt mouse click and that grabs my source, and then I'm clicking over the person. So I'm switching. There's a different type of brick over here on the wall when I want to get the other part of the arm. And I'm just clicking like that. Now when I get to the seawall, same thing. I need pictures, copies of the water. Now the trick is you don't want it to look like a pattern, because that is what makes it look immediately cloned or photoshopped. You want to have a natural look as possible. So that's why I come back up here, tinker with opacity, flow, what kind of mode, and again the brush size, because obviously the larger your brush you can do more. So I'm going to try 80 just to see what happens. And maybe a different brush here. And then I'm just going to try it out. And now with this 80 brush, and I changed my brush, it looks a little more natural. So again, I went up here, changed my brush and brush type and the size. And it's working real nice for the water here. So again, I alt to reset. Then I'm going to have to be a little more careful as I get going here. Oops, see, I just grabbed the elbow as a source. You can always undo if you goof up a clone. Just remember it maintains that distance as your source. And I can come back here, reset my wall. See there, I was going too fast and it almost turned into a pattern. So you need to reset as needed. So your goal is, I'm not quite finished here on mine, but your goal is to go ahead and remove the people so that that wall looks as natural and the water coming up to it looks as natural as possible. We'll assume mine is done. I would probably need to take 5 more minutes and tinker with some tools a little bit for my best options. So at this point, let's say I'm ready to complete mine. Don't forget, you're saving project file and product. So my project file is my Photoshop file. So I'm going to save as, and make sure you go to your library that is your folder for this class. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll just leave it the same name, Seawall. Again, this is a Photoshop file, PSD. So that is my project file. We always do 2, and then finally my product. So I'm going to do File, and again, we need a picture. That is our product. And in Photoshop CS6, we're doing Save for Web. And double check on the top right. It'll probably be the same picture format as the last time you worked in here. So mine remembers that I was in PNG 24. So I'm just waiting for it to finish compiling that. And usually it's real quick.